Can you share with the audience, the common pitfalls that you have seen when you see startups or scale-up companies building their first channel?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, apologies, I've turned my camera off because I'm sitting in the mountains in Wales and I'm suffering with poor internet. So apologies for not being on camera. So pitfalls that I've seen. Well, I've seen lots. I've seen lots of failures. I've seen lots of good things. And actually there is a common ground. So for me, starting right at the beginning, because I work with a lot of startups, the reality is if you look at your product and your technology, is it really a channel product? So first of all, you need to identify first your market, and then is there a big enough market to push this through a channel? So a lot of the technology I see and I have seen are very vertical focused. There's not a huge market for them, and that vendor has said, hey, let's go and sign one of the top 4 distributors. There really isn't enough revenue to be delivered through that to make a channel successful. So understanding, does your product really suit a channel, is stage 1. The second point that I see is people class. I mean, I specialize particularly in EMEA and particularly in Europe. And a lot of companies coming from outside of Europe, US, Asia, or actually countries within Europe still class this as one territory. And when they start to analyze, they don't really understand which markets to go for. So they talk about largest population. The reality of that would be Nigeria. They talk about the largest GDPR GDP, and that would be Germany. And actually, these different countries come with very complex go-to-market knowledge that you need to have to be successful. So, people talk about Germany. I live in Germany, so I can talk about this quite openly. Germany's a really tough market, and you have to respect language. So if you don't have a product in Germany and German, and you don't have marketing in German, it becomes very difficult. But also, Germany is a very, very strong country for in-house technology, in-country technology. And often, if you're from the US, you're from the UK, you're from Asia, you don't recognize the strength of their own market technology. And challenging them head to head when you're not ready, will cost you a lot of money, or you'll see mistakes. So choosing the right market, the right country at the right time is very, very important. And big isn't always beautiful. And then finally, I would say, I see a lot of particularly American. I apologize for picking on the US here. We see a lot of US companies saying, hey, we want to go into EMEA. What we're going to do, we're going to send over 2 or 3 of our really expensive guys. We're going to fund an office in central London, in Paris, or maybe Dubai these days. We're going to send them over, and they're going to build everything really quickly for us. We're going to fund an office, fund them, fund their children in private school, and a year later, because they don't really know anyone in the markets, and relationships are very, very important in each individual country, never mind EMEA. For me, you end up wasting a lot of money, going back, tail between the legs, or saying, do you know what, we tried it, they're not ready for us. And actually, it's the opposite. So those are 3 things that I see, particularly around startups.
Great insights. And again, I did forewarn the audience that it would be a very honest panel discussion. So thank you, Justine. And Nehul, from your experience, particularly given that you've got a lot of expertise in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of Asia, can you add to what Justine said, please?
Sure. First and foremost, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to wherever you guys are from. So it's good to have you all. Thank you so much, John and the team at Channel Mechanics for having us out here. And it's a topic that we're very passionate about, right? So there are quite a few things, right? And I'm going to start with the point that you started the conversation with in terms of why build a channel, right? One of the key reasons why you're building a channel is to build a scalable, repeatable revenue model. That's one of the key rationalities, right? When you want to look at channel as a business, or when you're entering new geographies. But then there are a couple of points that come into play in which I look at it as a pitfall when people are looking at a channel-driven model, is internal readiness. Most organizations, when they're scaling their channel internationally, they've assigned a channel manager, a channel sales manager, a regional manager maybe, right? But that's it. The rest of the organization behind is not yet ready to support that channel-driven model, and that's bound to fail. It's never gonna. It's not a one-person job, right? You need everybody within the organization, driven for the same objective. Second is expectation, right? I'll come in, I'll sign 10 partners, and bam, next morning I've got $10 million in revenue happening. It's never going to happen, right? It never does. Channel is a journey. You need to walk the path, right? There are no shortcuts. You will need to put in as much effort, if not more, as you would do for your direct revenue model, right? So that's two major points that I would talk around from a pitfall standpoint.
Excellent insights again. Thanks, Nehul and Justine, and I completely concur with the points that you've made from my experience as well of building those out. And I think an important point that you both touched on is respecting the culture of the countries, and Europe in particular, and many regions around the world are really homogenous, is the perception, but they're very, very different in terms of business culture, relationships, how people do things. So thank you for those.